This is Scott Fain with the Team Woods podcast, and I just wanted to put together this call today with two good friends of mine to have a conversation, just to gain some wisdom and knowledge, and talk to lovely people who have some great things to share with a similar background in education. Starting with my friend Patricia Coney. How are you doing today, Patricia?
I'm doing fine. Thank you for asking.
And my good friend Crystal Campbell. How are you today, Crystal?
I'm good. Excited to be here.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. I do want to jump right in with things since we're on a limited time today. We just have a couple of topics to talk about. I just wanted to get your thoughts on a couple of things. So starting off, since it is Black History Month, I know we all have some things that some ideas of what that means to us. And I wanted to find out what that means to both of you. Starting with Patricia, what does Black History Month mean to you?
Well, it's a celebration of our history. But as I said, we should have Black History Month every year because we weren't taught this in school. And I'm finding out so many things since they did start Black History Month that I didn't know. So when they first started, it was very, very exciting because there's certain things that I did. I think I'm a little older than both of you all, but there are certain things I did when I was growing up that I wished that I knew about now, like as far as the Black historians and the things that people have accomplished that were Black, that they were not taught to us in school. So it's exciting for me. But as I said, I think it should be all year long. We should celebrate somebody Black all year long because there's so many people that I'm finding out that have done so much toward Black history.
And they don't get any recognition.
And they get no recognition. And I had a few names. Well, you're going to get to that later. But I'm going to tell you this. I found out a lot about Black history through my own family. Mm-hmm. I found in 1968, I had family all over the country. And I didn't know it. And then we decided to have family reunions. And we went all over the country for them, which was really nice. Georgia, Texas, California, Chicago, Alabama, New York, Tennessee, North Carolina, Georgia. And they taught us different things about our own family, but we also taught us things about what went on in their family, and their personal families. And another thing about Black history is when I found out about the city that was burned down. I can't remember the state.
Georgia?
The whole city that was burned down. That was only about 2 years ago they were talking about.
Oh, you're talking about Black Wall Street.
The Black Americans.
Black Wall Street.
The Black businesses. Yeah.
Greenwood District and Black Wall Street, I think is what you're describing.
Black Wall Street, yes, that's what I'm talking about.
Tulsa,
That was just...
It's heavy.
Amazing to me.
What about you?
We were not taught.
I'm sorry. I wanted to see what Crystal had to say as well. What does Black History Month mean to you too, Crystal?
Oh, I mean, I can echo quite a bit what Patricia's saying too. And I know we're talking about generations, so it's exciting to be on this call with Patricia and to hear from the beforehand and then now and what we are, what we're doing. For myself, Black History Month for me, it always reminds me of footsteps and footprints. So for me, I know, and it kind of spills into that question, when I was in school, all they focused on was Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, and Cesar Chavez. Powerful people, powerful movements and respect. However, that's all I've learned about for
me too.
Forever. And I remember when HBO did a series on Josephine Baker, and I shouldn't have watched it because it was R, but we had HBO. It was rated R. I was hooked. Because I didn't know there was There was more. Oh, and forgive me, and Rosa Parks. I forgot. Those were the four, Rosa Parks.
Mhm.
So when I heard about Josephine Baker, this powerful woman, I was obsessed. And to this day, she's the person I would love to meet and have a conversation with. I remember I see myself when I was an elementary student going to the library and trying to find books and trying to find something else because I knew everything about Rosa Parks, Malcolm X, Chavez, and Malcolm X, but I didn't know about this Black woman. And then that opened the door for me in public schools. There were so many more African Americans a part of the movement that I was walking in their footprints, and then for their footsteps. So for me, as an African American woman, for the ones that are following behind me, my footsteps, giving back to the community and showing that as an African American woman.
I do. Patricia, how do you acknowledge Black History Month? Like, how do you celebrate it?
Well, we used to, as I said, we used to go to different functions, and like they would tell us about different things about Black history, like John Lewis, the guy who designed the streets of DC.
Oh, what is his name?
I had Benjamin
Banneker. I just right there.
We weren't told any of this in school, and this book they have out now, it's been out, I think it's 1619.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it's just a collection of what's it? I think he told me collection of essays and lectures. I can't wait to get my hands on that book.
Yeah, I gotta do
but
that.
This is it's so many, but what's sad about it is the children that we have now coming up, they don't seem to be interested in Black history.
Oh.
That's a whole nother story, I know, but there's so much, because I did the series, or I taped the series on the Martin Luther King movement, and my niece would not watch it. She said she couldn't watch us as Black people being treated that way. She can't even imagine it. So I said it did happen.
Yeah. I all of the things that you both have said, I totally agree with. I had the good fortune of having an African American studies class, history class in high school, Mr. Edison. And the one thing he loved it. He was passionate about history, and that's one of the things that I learned from. I learned there's a lot of things that we contributed to this country over the years, and I appreciate that. Now, Krista, you said your person that you'd want to meet if you were going to be somebody dead or alive is Josephine Baker. I wanted to see what are some of the people that you would look up? Like, give me one person that you would look up, dead or alive, that if you could talk to them, and what would you like? What's the question, or at least one question you'd ask? Starting with Patricia, please.
Oh, Patricia, Maya Angelou.
Oh, okay.
Maya.
Yes.
Good answer. What would you ask her, or what would you talk about?
I don't know. I probably asked her so many things because she went through so much. Mm-hmm. But I don't know. I can't offhand think of a question. Maybe like, what was her life like when she was a small child? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And how did she rise up to where she is now? Mm-hmm. And she was always seemed to be so pleasant, but to listen to her speak was so it was magnifying to me just to listen to her speak, And another one was Cicely Tyson. She was excellent. So there's so many of them, like General Colin Powell. There's so many people that we didn't know about in school that I keep going back to that. That's what I'm a little angry about now, that we didn't know about all these people that did these things. But Maya Angelou, I love her.
What about you, Krista?
I love to hear her speak about her.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Patricia taking all my answers. So yeah, mine would definitely, I have to hold firm with Josephine Baker. The question I would ask her is, how did she push past that fear? How did she do it? How did she push past that fear? Because everyone remembers her for the bananas, which was which was, groundbreaking. But how did she push past the fear? And, this was a woman who basically adopted the Parisian life and became a citizen and renounced her American citizenship. How does she push past that fear and do that? And I know, you go for your goals and push for your goals, of course, but I want to know, there had to be some strategy. She didn't have internet. She didn't have Zoom. She didn't have, she didn't have Google. So, I mean, how does she strategize that to become a worldwide name before Beyonce, before CDs, before record, how did she do it?
That's interesting.
And can I stay with her? I would love to. Can I go?
Determination and perseverance.
Yeah.
And finding the right people to work with, I imagine, helped too.
Yes.
The right folks around her to help elevate.
But during that time, though, it wasn't as pronounced as it is now.
Yeah.
So I want to know how did she do that then?
That's true.
That was a different type of, determination.
Because you'd have people talk about you in Paris or wherever it was, and then just based on the word of that knowledge going by ship, by newspaper, she became world famous.
By mail, So.
We could talk a little more on that a little bit later. I wanted to touch on one thing that I know I do it myself. I've talked to Crystal before. It's dieting, because that's one of the things when it comes to, especially nowadays, being healthy, staying healthy, not just food, but mentally and everything like that. But as far as just dieting, what is your dieting goals for this year, for 2022? Do you have any?
Well, I do.
What's your
goal? Well, first goal, I want to lose 25 pounds, 25 to 30 pounds. And I'm going to cut down on my sweets and start back to the gym, start walking, drinking a lot of water, because I did it before.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just amazing. If you put your mind to it, you can do it.
You have any particular goals around the water? How do you have any goals for how much water to drink and take?
Well, you should drink 8 glasses of water a day.
Hmm.
And I have done that before, but I've drank 3 this morning already. But and watching what you eat. I don't deal with the carbs, the proteins. I just cut back on everything that I eat. Like today, I'm having mashed cauliflower. And there's hardly no calories in that.
That's true.
And salmon, there's no calories in that hardly. So, I'm back to chicken and fish. So I've made up my mind that this is what I want to do as far as dieting.
Okay. Now, Crystal, I know that you have a very good discipline when it comes to your dieting and stuff like that. It's a thing I admire about you very much. What are your goals for this year?
Thank you. Yeah, dieting has been definitely a walk in my life. But I real quick, just 5 seconds, I need to get to Patricia's house for a plate. She's talking about salmon and cauliflower. We need to be heading to her house because I may have something, meal prep, but that sounds delicious. So
it is.
But dieting has definitely been a walk for me. It's been a part of my life forever. One of the things that I've made sure to do is I started the practice of drinking a gallon of water every single day. And I started that 4 or 5 years ago, and it has been a part of my everyday. And
that's wonderful.
It was an exercise, because the question everyone asks is, well, you have to use the bathroom a lot in the beginning, but then I'm to the point now where I don't even have to look at the clock and I know I haven't gotten enough water. So the one thing I started doing to really kickstart me was immediately, the first thing I do is drink a 20 ounce of water immediately. First thing in the morning. Keep it right by my bed. And, whatever works for you, I immediately drink 20 ounces of water. And that kind of sets the tone, helps with the hydration and whatnot. For the dieting, that has been a goal of mine. But what I started to do back in September was I went paleo and eliminated sugars, just all natural foods, nothing processed. So I did that in September to prep myself for October. And I made a promise to myself that I'm going to do 3, 6, 9-month intervals of exercising and check in with myself during those times. So I really wanted to become a part of my DNA to exercise 6 days a week. The way that drinking a gallon of water, I want exercising 6 days a week, doing something 6 days a week. And it's the old tale. I give my heart to my job, my profession, to my team, to my family. And I need to give 60 minutes to myself every day to move my body. Because I can walk to the refrigerator. I can get there. I can click on those buttons to order takeout. But yes, so that's a part of my goal. And I have January 11th was my 3-month promise to myself. So March will now be my next 6-month promise. And I've kept that promise. So I really want it to become part of my DNA. Mentally, it is tough. But that's my goal.
That's excellent, Crystal.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Life goals right there. That's a hashtag, like dieting goals right there.
6 days a week at Patricia's house. Hashtag salmon and cauliflower.
I'm making salmon. I got to put mine on the grill a little bit later, but that's a different.
But it's just a little. But you know what? It's a little hard when you first start. Mm-hmm. This is not my first rodeo with dieting. I'm like Crystal. I've been up and down, up and down. You know, I've been a size 10. I've been a size 18. Mm-hmm. But now I want to go back down again. So I have to. What did you say, Crystal? You made it your
promise to myself?
You made it your
mission?
Your promise to yourself? Or
I made a promise to myself. I made a promise to myself.
That's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to do. That's what I'm going to make a promise to myself to do it, because I can walk 4 miles a day, but now you can't walk here. But then now I don't trust the gym because I don't know. You know, see, that's the problem. I was walking and going to the gym. Mm-hmm. And these last couple of years, I've been so bored. Mm-hmm. And I find myself eating at night.
Yes, it's something about night. Something about the nighttime. The body's like ready to eat. Let's do this. So
I don't know if you guys have had this experience when it comes to the nighttime eating, but sometimes I feel like I'm on autopilot. If I get a little bag of something and I'll be eating, and then I look down, it's like, where am I done? It's like, was I even hungry?
100%. I've had to echo what Patricia said too. To expand on what Patricia said. I work out at home. I've never liked going to the gym. I always felt uncomfortable as a woman, and, outfits and being hit on, fill in the blank. So I work out at home. So I'd be happy to talk to you afterwards about some walking DVDs that I've done.
Okay.
I put you onto some ideas for that, because I work out at home. Since August at home, have a couple dumbbells, some DVDs, and I just jump around in my living room. So let's talk afterwards. Give you some advice.
Okay, that would be one. I never
walking. Yep.
Mm-hmm. I never did exercise at home, but a lot of people do that, and I just never did it at home. I like to get out.
Yeah. I have a friend like that. She's like, I can't do it. I can't do it, Crystal.
Get out. But you can, once you put your mind to it.
Right.
And the DVDs you just said, I have a girlfriend, she does wonderful with them. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, and then I have a little, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Since we're talking about goals and whatnot, I wanted to move on to manifesting some of the goals. Like, for instance, Patricia, you had a relocation experience when it comes to New York. And I know that took some type of manifestation for your goals and everything like that. And Crystal, you also have a similar story where you had to actually move to Atlanta. So I was hoping you guys could share a little bit about just how you manifested, what's a large goal that you reached and how you went about achieving that goal. Crystal, you want to start us off this time?
This is generations. I'd like to start with Patricia.
Okay, please.
Well, now, my goal, are you just talking about the relocation goals or other goals?
Whatever's the big goal. I mean, I cite that as an
Okay.
example.
Well, the major goal I had for this year was to have no bills. I have no bills.
Mhm.
Now, as far as the relocation, that was sort of not put upon me, but I had to do it. After my mother died and my father got sick, my sisters wanted to put him into a nursing home. So I said, no, I just took an early retirement. And as I told you, I came home and stayed, took care of him for 8.5 years. Then my husband and I commuted. Then about 2 years later, he got sick. So I moved back to New York to take care of him. Then he passed. And I was back and forth taking care of a condo in New York, taking care of the house here. And I said, I got tired of that. So I sold the condo and I've come back here. But I'm not crazy about being back here, back in Youngstown, because it's changed so much. And in the block that I live on, I think I'm about the oldest person on the block. Not to say the oldest person, but the original person.
Okay.
On the block. And I've had to fight ever since I've been here. I've gotten the street paved, street lights put up, houses torn down, neighbors, drug houses gone. And it was a constant thing, but I worked with the city throughout all of these procedures. And, but that keeps me busy because I like to travel. You know, I can't travel now. And then my husband and I traveled a lot. And then once he died, I just sort of shut down. I shut down for a couple of years. But now I'm sort of up and going again. But my major goal was no bills. No bills. I have no bills, nothing but utilities and house, because the house is paid for. So I have nothing but utility bills. And that gave me such a lift, you know, because, you know, we all had bills, but I had none. And that was my goal for 2022. That was my goal, my major goal.
Okay, that's a good goal.
That was yes, I worked hard at it.
What about you, Crystal?
She's been leading the way. So, you know, I'm walking in her footprints. You know, she's leading the way. I paid my bills off. And one of the major ones I paid off was my credit card bill. Yeah. And that was my birthday present to myself, 2021. My birthday is November 2021. So what I did was it was uncomfortable to take that right out of my savings. I didn't have a high number, but it was enough that I was uncomfortable. Right. So I took that out of my savings, paid it off outright, paid it off. And it was gone. It's gone. And then what I did was I took 1 year to replenish that money from my savings. So now my savings account is where it was this time last year.
That's wonderful.
But my next goal that I'm manifesting is everything with the student loan debt. That debt, I need that to leave my life. I need that to leave my life. I have been out of college in some way, shape, or form. Undergrad 2006, master's degree 2009. That needs to leave me alone. So with everything that's going on with the student loan debt and the pausing and the refining, so what I've been doing is manifesting, and I put it out there and I said, I'm going to be out of student loan debt this year. It's going to be forgiven, released. It's going away this year. So I have some bigger things I need to accomplish that I need that gone. So that's what I'm manifesting. And similar to Patricia, I moved from from Michigan to Atlanta to Boston. And that was also some manifesting. But that right now with the current times, the bills and the student loan debt, that's where I'm at.
Well, go and look for those applications they have now.
Yes, ma'am. I've already started filling them out. I've got one more left. And there will be facts. I already have it. I almost don't want to talk about it because I got to have it manifest. But yes, ma'am, I got them. I have applications filled out. I have a time frame. Have it all set up.
Are you all familiar with vision boarding or using a vision board to help manifest your ideas?
Yes.
You shaking your head, Crystal. What about you, Patricia? Do you know what that is, a vision board?
I didn't know what it was because a vision board to me, I didn't have one, but it was like I was visualizing something I wanted to accomplish. Mm-hmm. So basically, that's the same thing to me.
Oh, okay. So you haven't used it before?
I never had a vision board per se, but I always visualized something I wanted to accomplish. And I worked at that and worked it that way.
Okay. Have you ever worked with a vision board yourself, Crystal?
So the vision boards was very big with Oprah. So I was right in that time frame of that group, those groups. So with that, it was cutting and papers and pencils and everything. So that was never me because that's just not me. But what I have done now is done the digital vision board. And Patricia, I'd be happy to show you. We have a lot of conversations to have.
Right.
So I'd be happy to show you. But one website that I use that I was actually researching in preparation for this meeting is called Literally Designer. And you can do a free vision board because I did Pinterest, but Pinterest can be very large if you don't have a good grip on it. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, Designer. Mm-hmm.
Okay. For mental peace, for instance, and that home sweet home feeling of having it inside and out and just the planning for your family, I wanted to find out a little bit of what is your vision for mental peace? You know, what's your vision for having a home that makes you feel good? And go ahead, Chris, starting with you, Patricia. What's your vision for getting mental peace?
Learning to be myself and trying not to be someone else and doing the things that I want to do that's going to satisfy me, because 10 years of my life I spent taking care of other people. And I just finished taking care of my sister who had COVID. So my vision now is for Patricia. And I want to do my traveling again. I want to start my traveling again and my reading. And see, keeping a house is very new to me. I've always had an apartment. So now this here, the vision I have for this house, I've updated it a lot. So that's one vision that I have that I'm working on that already. I don't know what else. It's just now is me taking care of myself, mentally, physically, emotionally. You know, because I was out of it for about almost 10 years. Mm-hmm. But it's been good. I don't have a lot of complaints, but it just took, I don't know, it's a great thing to have, a vision to have what you want to do with your life. Mm. And see, I've accomplished most of the things I want to do. As I said, I'm a little older than both of you. So I've accomplished a lot of things that I've wanted to do in my life. And I've been very happy about that. I miss my husband. We traveled a lot. So now I miss him in that respect. In other respects, I miss him. But I had a good home life. As I told you, my mother and father, I came from a very, very loving home. And that has helped me in doing other things in my life. And I help some of my neighbors. Like I'm taking one of my neighbors, she's 89, to the doctor. She's going to a brand new doctor this week. So I'm going to take her because I've taken her before and I've watched how they treated her. Mm-hmm. And I did not like that. And I said something about it. So I've developed a rapport with a lot of my seniors. And so that's part of the things I want to do in life. Because like I said, I've met most of my goals. So now I have to make some new ones. And that's like taking care of the community, taking care of some of the seniors at church, doing things just like that.
Okay. What about you, Crystal? What's your vision for keeping mental peace and keeping your home feeling like a home for yourself, etc.?
For me, it has been, as I have approached this age and this new chapter in my life as a young woman, really a lot of it echoes what Patricia said. Patricia's been the leader for this conversation, is being myself.
Thank you.
Being myself. That has been the biggest lesson in speaking my truth, even when my voice shakes and in the moment, because I'm the kind of person that I'll take it home, I'll chew on it, I'll think about it, I should have, would have, could have, maybe, and I'll drive myself bananas with that. So that has been an exercise for myself that has brought mental peace to my home, because that energy, I'm not bringing that angry, frustrated energy into my home. So that has been probably one of the biggest gifts I've given to myself, is standing in my truth. But then also too, just quick 30 seconds, is I redecorated my apartment, and I actually spent the money to hire a professional organizer, and it was worth every penny, because we went through every single space in my apartment and cleared out the old, making way for the new, and clearing out that old energy. I found things that I'd had for years that I had all these memories to. But when I released all that, my apartment's lighter, fresh, new, and I'm bringing that energy of myself. So that's been the biggest thing for me, mental peace.
Okay. This is going to be my last question. We've got about 3 minutes left. There's been a huge disconnect in the Black community between the older generation and younger generation. I've seen it personally. And oftentimes, if I had to boil it down, it comes down to the younger generation doesn't want to listen, and sometimes the older generation doesn't want to learn a new thing. And so, in short, we're just getting this poor communication taking place. And so I wanted to see what nugget of advice could you give to younger generations that are trying to communicate with older generations and vice versa. Like I said, we've got about 3 minutes left. So Patricia, you go first.
Well, I worked with the Children's Defense Freedom Fund School for about 3 years. I worked with junior achievement, and turning my head around and looking at the kids, there were some children out there that would listen and said, "I'm so glad you told me that." And sometimes there were children out there that just didn't want to do anything. And you could not make, in fact, I have a nephew now. I'm on him like right on rice. I'm trying to get him to turn his life around. And like with me, I'm still learning stuff. And I'm enjoying what I'm learning. And when I work with junior achievement and the Children's Defense Freedom Fund School, they taught me some things too. So it's about meeting of the minds, and it's about how you approach. It's about how the older generation approaches the younger generation, because now the younger generation, they feel like they're entitled. Some of them feel like they're entitled. So it's a way that you approach them. I find that you can get more out of them, and show them that there's a way that they can make it in life. I worked with one little girl. She came from home with drugs, alcoholism. She is now a nurse, and she's working on her master's degree. And we stayed in touch all these years, and that made me feel really, really good. So to me, it's the way you approach. And as older people, we have to listen to what the younger people say sometimes, because as older people, we don't know everything either. And there's some things that we can learn from them, So, and I find that in my church. I come from an older church, and they don't want to listen to anything the younger people have to say. I said, well, that's why we're a dying church now, because the younger people have ideas too, and their ideas are very good.
And they're going to take the church into the next generation if it's good.
That's right. Without them, we won't have it.
Crystal?
I would say by doing more of this, by showing that the generations have more in common than we do opposed from each other. That and how we can unite all that amazing wisdom of our elders with what we have going on now. And I think this allows for more podcasts to happen between the three of us, or maybe additional parties. But this right here, this type of platform, sending it out to the world, so people can see someone who looks like me and see, oh, but you know what, Patricia looks like my aunt. She looks like my mom. And Crystal looks like my aunt. Or Crystal looks like my mom. So.
Right. That being said, I want to thank you both for spending some time with me. We're in a limited time today, but we definitely want to do this again. So thank you both again. Thank you.
Absolutely.
And thank you, Scott. Thank you too. And Crystal, was nice, awfully nice meeting you.
Likewise. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Don't forget, send me your telephone number or